Hey, how you doing today? Welcome to another segment of the Next Evolution Athletics Q&A series. I've got two really great training questions for you today, brought forward by some of my clients, and I'm going to dive right into them. Okay, so first question. I have a real problem with movement after so many years of abuse. I want to do squats, but my knees won't let me. Do you recommend wrapping them or a brace or something to help take the stress off the knees? I love this question, but I hate this question because I know this person is not going to like the answer I have to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. First thing, why do you want to squat? Okay. Trust me, I love squats. It's my thing. I love them. But you have to ask yourself, why do I want to squat first off? And two, why are the knees beat to hell? Okay. Now I know this person personally, and he's laborer, contractor, owns his own painting company, so he's always working, never stopped, 12, 16-hour days, banging away on the things. I guarantee it. It's just years of abuse. That's what he means by that. But what you have to understand is that there's many reasons why you may not be able to create that movement pattern comfortably. Okay. It could just be tightness. You could just be really stiff and sore and just not moving much. That would be the best case scenario, straight up. Second, it could be muscle imbalances. From years of repetitive stress and working in the same patterns and loads, you're just going to add up over time. Three, and hopefully the one I don't want to get into, is they could be osteoarthritic or in that pre-osteoarthritic phase. They just could be getting beat to hell. So you have to identify what the issue is, what is causing the issue first. It's just tightness and muscle imbalance. You can work around those. If it's arthritis, you can squat again, possibly, but you're going to have to modify how you do it and your approach to doing it. Okay. So let's look at the first part. Okay. Tightness and muscle imbalances. If it's tightness, start stretching. Load those patterns with just body weight, not a barbell, nothing. Just squat to body weight, get deeper and lower into position, and hang out in the pocket and really stretch everything out. Do a lot of hip mobility drills, do a lot of hamstring stretching, hip flexor stretching. Get your body moving again. I find some of the best way to do it, you can start doing yoga, but honestly, if you just take a kettlebell and start goblet squatting and kettlebell swings, and then some basic stuff like that, usually it's a good place to start. But yoga, mobility of the hips, and hamstrings and hip flexors, and just getting into position, hanging out in the pocket. Okay, that's the first thing. If it's muscle imbalances, you got to identify the weak areas. If your quads are overdeveloped and your hamstrings, hips, and calves are underdeveloped, you have to spend some quality time developing your hamstrings in the flexion and extension positions, as well as your hips, your glutes, and your calves. Calves are big knee stabilizer. People forget that. If it's just a combination of tightness and muscle imbalances, you just do both. Okay, you start warming up those patterns and moving those patterns again. You may have to adjust your squat a little bit, but guess what? You can squat, no problem. It's just tight. If it's just those things, you should be fine within several weeks, depending how bad it is. Now the worst one, arthritic knees. Those are a hard one because it's so they're so specific to the individual, and this is just from my experience. So generally, if someone comes in with arthritic knees, we first identify what their range of movement is and what loads they can do. That's pretty much where we start. Now, that could be anything from 0 to none, and your knees are like cantaloupes as soon as you start to bend them, or it's not very bad and you're just super bad in one small area, but not really anyplace else. So it's varying degree of spectrum. What I like to do is I try and build up people's hips and hamstrings and posterior chain. I put a lot of work in the posterior chain starting out for most people, but for someone with arthritic knees, I try and spend a lot of time developing that posterior chain. They may not get a full squat, but we slowly start to build a movement pattern into that position. And we do it solely by developing a posterior chain, hamstrings, hips, and then range of motion, body weight, range of motion, body weight. And you work into a pain-free range of motion over time. Now, In the last 6-9 months, I've been working with women with specifically these issues, and we've done a lot of kettlebell swings, a lot of posterior chain, a lot of like not full body squatting, but we've started to go deeper in a position, and she's almost at parallel from starting pretty much from like a 5 or 10 degree. So that's pretty damn good over a 6-9 month period, and there's been no pain. The key indicator is no pain, because your knees get swollen and beat up. You won't be able to do that, do any movement, and movement is the cure to this thing. Sorry, cure is not the right word. Movement will help this massively. Okay, so take that time, build up those range of motions, and build up the hamstrings and hips. Do I recommend wrapping your knees or a knee brace? No, absolutely not. I do not. I would identify what the issue is first and try and work around it, not through it. Okay, if it's just tightness, start moving around. I try not to use any knee wraps, any knee braces, any sleeves, or anything in my squatting because I want to work around the issues and not rely on those, especially at my age. I'm not even 40 yet, so I don't want to start to get into that position right away and start relying on them. And I'll try and push that as long as I can. Okay, if it is arthritis, you're gonna have to see a specialist first, sports med, and see what you can do. There's just no way around it. It's not the perfect answer. I know it's probably the one you don't want to hear. But I'll tell you right now, if you put on knee wraps or a knee brace and try and bang through a movement pattern that your body's not ready for, or it's been a while, or it really just doesn't want to do it right now, you're only going to make it worse in the long run, and it definitely will not help you in the long run. I promise you that. So I know it's not the best answer to the question. I know this person wanted to hear a much different answer, but sorry, that's the one I got for you. The next question is a really good one. It's another training question. What should I be doing for recovery? What sort of things can I do to recover better? Now, recovery is a really, really interesting part of my profession. Everyone wants to hear about the really sexy, like ice baths or like hyperbaric chambers and, like these magical recovery drinks. At the end of the day, there are many, many, many ways to recover. A lot. Like I said, ice baths, massage, yoga, cupping, and the science is out on a lot of them. Some of the science says it's great, some of the science says it's nothing. Like cupping, I personally like cupping. Science tells me it doesn't do shit, straight up. There's people that argue with me, but go research it. There's not much you get at a cupping. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with it. I like it. I still do it. But people want to go to these really sexy extreme measures first, like a cryo chamber. The best way to recover, hands down, starting out, sleep better, eat better, stretch, and probably meditate. Those are probably the big 4 things that you can do. Eat better, sleep better, stretch, meditate. Those things right there are probably the most bang for your buck for recovery. And most people don't start there. So I'm going to tell people right now, if you want to recover better, first you have to identify why you're not recovering. Are you training twice a day on 4 hours sleep at a calorie deficit and have a super stressful job? I promise you right now, there's no methodology, no magic trick you can do to recover, to overcome those obstacles. You need to sleep better, eat better, stretch more, meditate. And even if you sleep better, you can probably get away with it meditation. But at the end of the day, those are the big 3, and I'd say that's a hard 3B. So if you're not sleeping well, if you're not getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night on average per person, if you're not eating properly, if you're super stressed, there's no recovery modality that is going to help you get the goals you want when you're not doing those already. If you want to do those already and go farther down the rabbit hole of recovery, that's when the other stuff starts to play in, not before. It's like majoring in the minors. I know so many people that are worried about what supplement they're taking, how many I use a vitamin D they have a day, and they can tell you they have 600 milligrams of B12 complex, and they can have a tablespoon of omega-3 fatty acids, and do all these tiny little things like they eat broccoli, but they can't tell you their protein goal and their calorie goal for the day. You're majoring in the minors. You're focusing on the minutia and missing the whole big picture over here. Okay? Supplementation. It's what it is. Supplement. It's not the primary go-to. Okay? So you have to get your nutrition dialed in, get your sleep dialed in, get your mobility and stretching dialed in, and get some meditation dialed in. Hard 3B. But again, don't major in the minors. Focus on the big ones and then start worrying about the little stuff. You know, my programs are very simple. Squat, bench, dead, occasionally a power clean, you know, jumping, carrying things, throwing things. That's the gist of it. Sprinting. I guess that's it. That's pretty much all we do. Yeah, those are the big movements that we do. Everything after that is accessory work, or it's like warm-up routines, or it's a technique thing. The big movements, nutrition, sleeping, stretching, relaxing. Those are the best ways to recover. Focus on the majors, not the minors. Guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you really like this. If you found this informative and interesting, please subscribe. I got way more content coming your way. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. I'm trying to grow this stuff and these pages in my following to help more people, and I'm going to try and battle the bullshit out there. Have a great day. Stay tuned. I got more coming your way.